Welcome back. February is Black History Month, the time when America honors the contributions of African Americans. Those contributions obviously have been many, and they can be honored every day of the year, not just 1 month out of 12. That's the idea behind this book called 366 Days of American History, Afromation. It's a perpetual calendar with each day highlighting the contribution of an African American. I'm joined tonight by its author, Michael Woods. Mr. Woods, thank you for coming on our program. Good evening.
Thank you.
First of all, 366 days a year. How'd you come up with the title?
Well, I feel that if it happened in America, it all should be called American history and taught that way every day of the year and not just in February. It started off as Negro History Week in 1926. Then a gentleman named J. Peacock lobbied the state and federal governments to take it into a month. And that took about 20 years. It started in the 70s. So I guess around the mid-80s, people started saying Black History Month. Now, after doing this research, I kind of feel that how can all this fit into 1 month, all these great contributions, and why should it be segregated? And I now feel that it should be taught every day of the year, including February 29th, which is why you have the title, 366 Days of American History.
Do you feel that Americans on March 1st suddenly we forget about the contributions of African Americans?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I feel that just like when most people read that title, they read 365 Days of African American History. It's like we've been conditioned to think that our history is different than everybody else's, when I could trace my roots back to before the Civil War. And I'm wondering, why does it have to be called African American history if it all happened in America?
Each page deals with a different person. Are they all African Americans, or do you have all sorts of people in this book, or is it primarily just all African Americans?
Well, they're all of African descent. They're broken into categories: scientists, scholars, doctors, lawyers, which blew me away also in our research, because when I was growing up, all I heard was slavery, and that was it. I wasn't really told that we did many other contributions, or that when people came out of slavery, a lot of them went to Harvard or Yale, or that there was a man named Paul Cuffey who had his own fleet of ships in Baltimore back in the early 1800s, or your Madam C.J. Walkers who built these empires. So basically, I put this out to share with everybody, not just Black Americans, but all Americans, because it doesn't work unless everybody knows of the great contributions that everybody made.
Who stands out in this book to you? You just mentioned a few people, but as you went through the research for this, what stories really stood out for you?
A man named Robert Church Sr., he's out of Memphis, Tennessee. Back in the late 1880s, the city had a yellow fever epidemic, and everybody was leaving the town, and it was about to lose its charter. So he bought up bonds to keep Memphis' charter so it would still be a city. Now, I visited Memphis one time. There's a park called Church Park next to Beale Street. And nobody knew why it was called Church Park, but this man was a millionaire back in the 1880s, and to me that was just unheard of, because I never saw it in the movies. Or basically, my education was the miniseries Roots.
Right.
That's the education I had of Black contributions to America.
Well, actually, here's my copy, and I looked up today, William Taylor Burwell Williams, who was apparently very, very instrumental in dealing with education, African-American education in the South. It's really a fascinating book, and it also gives you other years on this date. For example, April 15th, Walker Edward Washington, Washington's first elected mayor, born on this day in 1915. Elizabeth Callett, my glasses are not with me right now, so excuse me. The Dean of Women Artists, born in D.C., 1919. So it's really a fascinating book. You're in Henderson tomorrow at a book signing?
Yes, at Borders Books and Music in Henderson on Sunset Road at 4 to 6 p.m. Have a website, which is Afromation.com, AFROMATION.com. And also, I'm at the West Las Vegas Art Center tomorrow at their open house from 12:30 to 2:30. Then one more thing, the reading room Sunday morning from 11 to 1, which is right next to the House of Blues in Mandalay Bay.
It's a great book, a wonderful project, history for everybody. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Right now, let's get a check of our weekend forecast. Kevin Janison standing by tonight. Kevin.
Hey, Jeff, did you see those high clouds out there earlier today? We had a batch of them cross the Las Vegas Valley sky late this afternoon and this evening. A little ripple developed.